In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 mistakes I wish I knew when I was starting out in fitness, when I was starting out in bodybuilding and getting in shape and building my physique. I think you're gonna find the 5th one that I've got here to be one of the most surprising ones. I'm John from BulldogMindset.com. On this channel, I teach you how to be a man. I teach you how to build financial independence, how to build a physique that you want, how to get the girls that you want, and how to go from what I call the victim mindset to the bulldog mindset. When I started out in fitness, I had no idea what I was doing. Okay, I remember getting the Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilding encyclopedia as a gift, and that was really like my first introduction into lifting weights. You know, growing up as a kid, I was not very physically active. I was not an athlete at all, really. You know, in fact, I was the opposite. I was the kid that got made fun of and sat on the bench in Little League and all kinds of stuff like that. So, you know, I didn't know, right? I was not a jock by any means, but I started to, you know, get involved in sports later, like at the end of high school, and then on my own I started lifting weights and eventually became a runner. Now I run marathons, you know, I lift, I do all kinds of physical activities, and I've built a pretty good physique, but you know, it's taken me a long time, right? I've been lifting weights and I've been in fitness for almost 20 years. And so, yeah, it's taken me a long time, and I could have gotten the results that I got a lot faster had I had known what I'm going to teach you now. Number 1 is to focus on diet first. This was the biggest mistake. This was the thing that I wish I would have known, was that it's not necessarily all the time that you're lifting and putting into the gym or even running or doing any kind of physical exercise. It's the diet. The diet matters more than anything else. And specifically, you know, as far as building a nice aesthetic physique, is avoiding the junk, right? Eating healthy, eating clean meals, keeping the calories down. Okay, when I first started lifting, I ate a bunch of junk, and I thought, in fact, I was buying weight gainer. I was literally buying these bags of weight gainer because I thought that that's what I needed, was to build muscle by just eating as many calories as possible, and I didn't care where the calories were coming from. I was eating all kinds of junk, right? Candy, you know, sugar, fast food, all that stuff. And I did gain muscle. I did. I really did. I gained a lot of muscle, but I also gained a lot of fat. And what I found later on was that it's really hard to remove the fat without removing the muscle at the same time, especially when you go too far, right? If to some degree you can do that, but that was a big one. The amount of work you have to do to burn just 1 pound of fat, we're talking like 4 hours of running. Right? Maybe a little bit more than that, but let's say 4 hours of running. Okay, it's so much easier to burn a pound of fat by just eating right, even by fasting or just dieting right. Think about it. You don't have to do anything except not eat or eat very little in order to lose weight by diet, versus if you want to lose a pound of fat by exercise, you got to run for 4 hours. That's a huge effort. Number 2 is don't ever get fat. Again, this kind of relates to number 1 and some of the mistakes that I made, where I was, you know, taking weight gainer and I was eating lots of junk. But the problem is, right, and I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen this if you've seen, you know, with my physique. Like I get all the time when I'm pretty ripped, I get, and I take pictures, people are like, oh wow, you still have love handles, right? Or I've got stretch marks, but you know, especially love handles. And you know, the thing is that once you get fat like that, like you start to store fat in those places, and it's really hard to lose, right? In order for me to lose my love handles, I have to get down to like basically like 6% body fat, okay, in order to lose that at this point, which I didn't have that problem before I gained a lot of weight, right? I got fat at one point, and you know, you end up having like loose skin problems, and you end up having more fat cells, so it becomes harder. So it's just best to not get fat in the first place. Now, if you're already fat, you know, it's too late. You know, just remember that it's just not worth it, and it takes so much time and so much effort to lose that fat. It's better to stay somewhat lean, you know, as you're going through, and if you're becoming a bodybuilder, like don't just like start eating junk. Don't just, you know, not worry about getting fat, because once you get fat, it becomes really difficult. It just makes the scale so much harder for you to develop a good physique. Okay. And once you've done it in your life, like I said, if I could go back and I could have never gotten fat, just like slightly overweight, it would have been great, right? So many things would have been easier as far as developing a physique now, but it's harder now. It's considerably harder. Like I said, I've got the fat in those places that, builds up over time, and even though I'm lean on top, I still have those love handles unless I get super, super lean, and part of that is because I had gained so much weight. And then again, I've got, stretch marks and things like that. That's not as huge of a deal, but it is annoying, right? And like I said, appetite is larger. There's a lot of big drawbacks to have gotten fat. All right. Number 3, if you're going to do cardio, do enough of it. So I spent a lot of time, I wasted a lot of time doing cardio that I didn't like doing, that was miserable, that didn't really have an effect. Okay. For I think a good 4 years of my fitness career, I would run 3 times a week, basically 3 miles, 5K. Okay. Now, when you add that up, that is not much. It is not much calories that I was burning during that time, right? We're talking about like a half hour of running 3 times a week. You're talking about maybe like an extra 1,000 calories a week. That's it. Okay, that's not a lot. That's not going to make much of a difference. Okay, now I'm running about 40 to 50 miles a week right now, which ends up being somewhere around 5, 6, maybe 7,000 calories a week extra that I'm burning. That makes a difference. That makes a huge, huge difference. And so, and if I did cardio, again, you don't have to do as extreme, but if you did an hour of cardio every single day, you would make a dent. It would make a difference. You would be burning several thousand calories depending on what your weight is. But if you're going to just go out there and do cardio, make sure that you're doing enough of it. Again, diet is going to be number 1, but you can make an impact from cardio. It just has to be enough. Most people grossly underestimate how much cardio they need to do to actually make an impact. Even if you did 30 minutes a day of cardio, okay, that would add up over time, and that would probably make an impact. But doing a little bit of cardio, like I said, running 3 times a week for 5K or 3.1 miles, it's nothing, right? And the problem with it is that you think that you're actually doing something by doing that, and so you feel like you can eat a little bit more. You feel like you're making progress when you're not actually making progress. If you're gonna make progress cardio-wise, do enough of it. Number 4, this one's really important. Bro splits are a waste of time. For so much of my lifting career, I did the bro splits, right? I did back and chest, and then I did tris and shoulders, and then I did, legs and abs or whatever it was. And while it worked, I did gain muscle, the problem was I was mostly hitting each muscle group once a week. That's not enough to maximize the gains, okay? In fact, when you're only hitting each muscle group once a week, you tend to have losses because you don't have enough time to actually, to actually build the muscle up. Like, you tend to lose the strength that you made or the gains that you made in between, unless you're eating a ton of food, in which case it's just no good. So it's better to do more frequent. I do full body workouts now, or upper body, lower body, and I only need to lift 3 times a week. In 3 times a week, doing full body workouts, I can get, if not the same, if not better effect than I did doing bro splits, lifting 6 or 7 days a week. Okay, so again, you could probably lift 6 or 7 days a week, but even if you did, I would do upper body, lower body, or I would do full body workouts. I would not do the bro splits. Okay, the bro splits just don't make sense for most people. And like I said, you're going to make a lot more progress. I wish I would have known that from the beginning, because I could have made progress a lot faster, even though I eventually did make progress. Bro splits do work, but they just don't work as well. And then finally, the 5th one I have here is you don't need to eat 6 meals a day. Oh my gosh, I wasted so much of my time making food, cooking food, eating the food, right? All these dishes, all of this, carrying around Tupperware containers and all this stuff, because that's what bodybuilders do. I wasted so much time doing this, where it became my whole life. And what I'm doing now is I only eat once a day. That's it. I fast until 5 o'clock every day. Okay? And am I wasting away? Am I losing muscle? I'm running 40 to 50 mile weeks on top of that. Okay? If I wasn't running, I'd be gaining even more muscle. But you don't need to, right? Again, like I said, if you want a physique, I've got a pretty high tier physique. If you want a physique like mine, look what I'm doing. I'm just eating once a day. That's it. Okay? I'm eating enough protein, but the eating 6 meals a day, the whole metabolism thing is false, but even just for protein synthesis, it's not critical. It might not be optimal to only eat once a day as far as gaining muscle, okay? But if you want to, you could add some protein in the morning. You could just do like maybe 3 meals, and you could just make sure you hit protein for the first 2 meals, and then eat regular meal at the end of the day. But regardless, it just doesn't make sense to eat 6 meals a day, to spend your whole time focusing on eating these small meals. Plus they're unsatisfying meals. I could go off on this tangent for a long time. But yeah, so that was a big thing I wish I would have known, because now my life is so much simpler just eating 1 meal a day. Those are the 5 mistakes I wish I would have known when I got started. And subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.